on this wet and wild episode of Mythbusters.
Ooh, I definitely feel like I'm not really in control. Woo! Here's a little math for you. Flat tires plus police chasing your butt.
Oh, he is losing it.
Equals C in jail, buddy.
According to the murmurings of the criminal underworld, you can defeat a spike strip. So we're gonna try a couple of DIY methods for toughening up our tires.
That's not a sexy ride at all.
As well as an outrageous driving maneuver right out of a hyped-up Hollywood heist.
And Brian and John meet up with a couple of old pals from the search to power up a super fountain.
We're testing the myth that an old man in an inner tube, yeah, I think he had a little bit too much to drink this time, accidentally floats his way over a fountain and gets shot up into the air, being suspended by the water. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Woo!
The first myth off the blocks involves an enticing yet highly dangerous cocktail: alcohol and water. The story goes that a tipsy senior citizen decided to finish off an evening of drinking with a dip in his hotel's dormant fountain. Floating in an inflatable ring, he bobbed across the water's surface in a gentle stupor. Until, that is, the fountain sprang to life, suspending the startled senior high in the air for several seconds. But when the Mythbusters investigate this tale of drunken misadventure, will it hold water, or is it merely hydrodynamic hyperbole?
Well, this sounds like a senior's party gone wrong.
Yeah, I'd say gone wrong and then some.
It's safe to assume those great fountains in Vegas and Dubai aren't gonna let us do this.
You mean because it's not good for their public image?
Yeah, exactly. But that means we get to build a super fountain, and I've never done that before.
Oh, wait, here's a surprise. I haven't either.
Let's do it.
But before the guys go full Vegas and engineer a super fountain, they need to learn how to optimize its design to lift and hold a floating object.
Water is one of the most prevalent molecules on the planet, but it's also one of the most unique. With just one oxygen and two hydrogens separated by 104.5 degrees, it becomes just about magical. You can use it to cut through steel, lift a 500,000-ton ship, and it's most dense as a liquid and not as a solid. It's those crazy properties and many more that we're gonna have to investigate to figure out just how water could lift a human being.
Luckily for us, we have a custom-built Mythbusters fountain right here, including a powerful pump, a flow regulator valve, a reservoir with enough water for continuous flow, and a series of interchangeable nozzles that will help us find the optimum stream to give this myth the best chance.
Oh! That's more reasonable. This myth is about a person being levitated by a stream of water, but a person is oddly shaped. We're gonna start with something with a little simpler physical property: a sphere. All right.
Let's do it.
The first nozzle up for testing is medium-sized and produces what's known as a clear stream jet. So is it capable of suspending a foam ball in midair?
Oh! It looks so promising.
You know what? I started to see something, though. It's gonna fall out to one side, but watch as it comes out, it starts to spin and slow down its fall. Ah, you see it hang up?
It rolls off the stream.
I think we need a little more stream.
Let's do it.
Woo! Oh! Oh! That ball's levitating.
Whoa!
That's great, man.
Holy moly! It's kind of like black magic.
But the high-speed footage reveals this is no witchery. It's pure physics.
The ball's not in the jet, it's off to the side, and it's constantly spinning.
Right? That's that hydrodynamic effect. Obviously, gravity's pulling the ball down, but the water's pushing it up and out. But the important force, that water being flung around, pushing it back into the stream and stabilizing it.
It's a spectacular trick the guys repeat with a number of different balls and nozzles. But the hydrodynamic effect most likely doesn't explain this myth.
That's cool, but check this out. Buster in his inner tube, no magic carpet ride.
So it's back to testing, and time for a switch of balls.
We have this one. Yeah, it's heavier than this one. It's a bit smaller, too. And see what happens?
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay. Oh! Oh, so close. Oh! I should have yelled.
I was so excited for like a tenth a second.
The jet is just too turbulent, and because some sections of the water column are moving faster than others, the internal differences in pressure this creates throws the ball out every time.
I think a smaller nozzle is going to pull a little trick here that we need.
Brian's backing a small clear stream nozzle to produce a less turbulent jet, in which the water is moving at a more uniform speed, with less destabilizing variance in internal pressure.
Give her a shot.
Oh, come on. Ooh, look at that.
That's beautiful, and I think that means these nozzles are important.
In fact, several nozzle types, which produce a more stable, less turbulent jet, also steadily suspend weightier rubber balls.
There you have it. This is a different physics principle than we saw last time.
Yeah?
And a comparison with the hydrodynamic effect reveals why these differing physics could be crucial to solving this myth.
That's the hydrodynamic effect, and that's the Bernoulli effect.
It almost doesn't look like the ball's moving. It's just water moving up and around it.
The Bernoulli effect's, it's like cupped hands. That top of that stream holds the ball in the center, and if it's pushed off to the side, there's actually extra force from that movement and less force on the other side because the ball's moved over, making that ball want to shift back into the center, holding it steady. And that Bernoulli force is exactly what we want to take advantage of.
But before Mythbuster gets a ride in the jet flow, let's swerve over to a myth about fleeing the 5-0. They're every getaway driver's nightmare, road spikes. Yet some felons claim to have beaten a blowout and the best efforts of the boys in blue. Their secret? DIY toughened tires. But when the Mythbusters investigate, will these criminal claims hold firm or hit the skids?
This is John Lung reporting live from Mythbusters News at what appears to be a horrific accident involving an overturned tanker trailer just a quarter-mile outside of Hazmat City. Actually, this is John Lung reporting for Mythbusters at Del Val Disaster Training Facility, where firefighters train every day for real-life disasters just like this. And it's the perfect place for us to have our own little disaster involving some spike strips.
Best stuff. This is a real spike strip.
Wow, that's nothing but business, huh?
Look at this, the spikes come right out and they're hollow to bleed the air out. These little feet actually get caught so it can tilt either way as that wheel comes in, lining up those spikes perfectly. It's genius.
And it's these design nuances which make the spike strip such an effective car-killing tool. When the Mythbusters first tested the tire-busting prowess of road spikes, Adam dropped them from a fleeing spy car.
There we go.
But they failed to stop Jamie's hot pursuit.
Okay, we got ya. Bang, 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 bang.
And both Adam and the myth were busted.
Here it goes.
But when the myth was retested, this time Jamie dropped hollow spikes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I feel them in my tires.
And this single enhancement made all the difference. The hollow spikes allowed air to escape from the tires of Adam's chasing car, immobilizing it within 15 seconds. In fact, they're so effective that run over them slow or run over them fast, and you're on a highway to nowhere but Flatsville.
You hear that, Brian?
Yeah.
That's the overwhelming sound of our car getting its butt kicked by that spike strip.
Those spikes, they're hollow so that they're like a soda straw. That way, a small sip of air can come out and you don't have a boom, uncontrolled blowout. You have a nice, steady, slow stop. That's pretty neat.
Unsurprisingly, when it comes to beating the spike strip, air-filled tires proved a real letdown. But there's no need to feel deflated. When the Mythbusters return,
If you can raise a house with it, you could probably spike-proof a tire.
They'll toughen up a set of tires with AB foam
It's time to roll out the welcome mat.
and then run this roadblock for real. And in the myth of the Geezer Geyser,
Look at that!
the fun continues at a pool party with old pals.
Definitely enough force. Push and hold Buster up. You think?
Can a getaway driver beat a spike strip and escape the police with the aid of DIY toughened tires? Brian and John are going to make their own and put them to the test.
A,
Hey.
B.
Woo! All right, there you go, AB foam. This stuff, you find it everywhere. I mean, they literally insulate stuff with it all the way to raising the foundation of a house. And you figure if you can raise a house with it, you could probably spike-proof a tire.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, you stand back, buddy.
Should I cover your beard with my hand or something?
It protects itself.
Oh!
There we go. All right. And this one. I'd say that's full. Don't get in the crossfire. How's my beard?
It's doing pretty good.
Once the foam is cured, the guys snap off the excess, weld up the fill holes, and their DIY toughened tires are done.
All right, road spike simulation test in 3, 2, 1. Oh, snap!
So that penetrated pretty easily, but that's not broken up around there. In fact, yeah, not a problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's my question. If these spikes go in, the only thing you have to worry about is forces from the side tearing it up. And I'm impressed.
This might actually work.
But is AB foam a spike buster? Time for the rubber to meet the road.
There's 2 driving components to every heist. Getting to your heist, getting away from your heist. We're gonna put our modified tires through both those tests. The first test is gonna be this course, which is a daily driving, how's it handle type of test. Just a little bit of weaving, a few speed bumps, a sharp corner, and a long drive up to the finish line.
Where it will become our starting line for test 2. Now, we'll be driving away from the scene of our crime as if we're being chased by the cops. But unfortunately, we'll be hitting their spike strips immediately. Not only do we care about what happens to the tires on the spike strips, but also what happens to them afterwards and how the car handles. Because what good's a getaway car if you're not getting away? Ooh, good pass, good pass. It's good to go. These foam-filled tires aren't much heavier than the air-filled tires, which is good for handling. But the bonus is with the extra rigid foam inside, when they roll over the spikes and all the air falls out, it should still be good. AB foam handling test in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's a little road construction. Oh, what's that, some potholes? Oh, I hate these potholes. Oh, gosh, yeah. Overall, though, I mean, that's really smooth drive.
And he's back.
So on the leisurely drive to the heist, the AB foam-filled tires performed well.
It's time to roll out the welcome mat.
But how will they fare on a high-speed getaway?
Ooh, look at that peel off. And, ooh, I can hear the air leaving those tires. What a satisfying sound. Oh, oh, snap. Oh. I don't know how much control he really has left because it looks like he just barreled through all that stuff. Oh, good Lord. All right, here it comes. Well, look at that. The front one's running a little flat, but the back two seem like they're doing fine. But the sound on that turn suggests otherwise. Oh, goodness. Woo-wee!
The high-speed footage shows the AB foam tires seem to stand up pretty well to the spike strip.
Can you hear that, Brian? It's the sound of us going to prison.
But with no air left in the tires, the foam takes the full brunt of the speed bumps, begins to disintegrate, and by the second lap, Brian's driving on 4 flats.
I mean, I'm watching you make those turns and stuff, and you're losing more and more control every time you make a lap.
Yeah.
Kind of nuts.
That's exactly it. I was like, I think I could probably make 1 more lap, but I couldn't make 2 more laps.
And an autopsy of one of the tires reveals exactly why Brian's getaway hit a dead end.
Ooh, this looks like some speed bump damage.
Yeah, I think that's what I felt.
Well, there's your problem.
Yeah, this, even if it didn't crumble, still not enough structure to go that far, but you could have driven on that. You can't drive on that.
So the AB foam tires gets an EF grade as Spikebusters. Epic fail. Time for a new set of tires. The guys have settled on a heavyweight option.
Do you want to start mixing concrete while I drill holes in this tire?
Yeah, that sounds good.
But will concrete-filled tires deal a knockout blow to the spike strips and make for a clean getaway?
Each one of these concrete-filled tires is 185 pounds more than a tire just filled with air. Now, to put that into perspective, I'm 185 pounds, so that means before anyone even gets in the car to drive it, there's already 4 of me sitting on the car. Now, I have no doubts these things will survive those spike strips, but I feel like they'll totally just shear off the threads that hold them onto the car itself and roll away. I mean, if I don't get away from the cops, I'm sure these tires will. Momentum! Oh, yeah! Whoop.
All right, John, concrete tire handling test in 3, 2, 1.
All right, here comes my very slow, very deliberate start.
Probably a smart move. With each concrete tire adding 180 pounds, the wheels could easily shear clean off the car.
How's it looking from the outside?
Well, John, I've got to be honest. Like my grandmother's driving. So while old Rollin' Thunder makes his way to the heist,
All right, here we go, first speed bump.
there's plenty of time to check back into the myth of the geezer geyser. A tipsy senior citizen had a drink-addled brainwave. Why not go for a dip in the hotel fountain? He bobbed happily across the water's surface in his inflatable ring until, that is, the jets fired up, lifting him skywards and suspending him in the powerful stream for several seconds. Or at least that's the story. But does this tale of hijinks and H2O actually hold water?
All right.
The Mythbusters have discovered how to stably suspend a rubber ball in a jet of water.
Ooh, look at that!
That's beautiful, and I think that means these nozzles are important.
But can they pull the same levitational trick
That looks beautiful.
on something a little more like the drunken old geezer in the myth?
Ta-da!
So, on the drunken night, he hung out and said, I'm gonna sit in a giant watermelon.
Yeah, he's drunk.
Yeah, okay.
Gas it a little. Gas it a little. Feels like it's gonna take the weight. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let go. Oh, snap!
That's something right there. I think this actually applies to this myth really well, because if Mini Buster was drunk, he wouldn't be hanging on to that, would he?
I mean, he literally just fell off of it. I don't think a single nozzle is gonna cut it.
I think there's a fair amount of physics and engineering that's gonna have to be done to make this work, but I have an idea.
The Mythbusters are going to rebuild the small-scale fountain with an array of jets encircling a central jet to better replicate the Vegas fountain in the myth.
Woo!
And that process starts with a complex design.
Right.
Our small-scale rig consists of 2 distinct parts, an outer array of nozzles and a single inner nozzle. Now, that outside array has a manifold to help distribute water and pressure evenly among the 6 individual nozzles, which are built like this. Hose, reducer, PVC pipe, and the most important part, the flow straightener to make sure we get the most laminar flow out the top. Now, the inside nozzle is the same thing as that, except it has its own pump and its own flow control valve so that we can regulate the outside and the inside pressure differently. You know, usually some ideas look easier on paper. This is not one of them.
Let's go build this thing.
Let's do it.
All right.
Ooh, fancy. After you, sir.
this looks good. Let's shut it down, tighten those down, and try to float Buster.
Coming up, the guys get some expert help from old pals
I just like hugging it.
to upsize their small-scale fountain to Vegas proportions. And
Okay, here we go.
it's concrete tires versus spike strip. But will this heavyweight duel
Spike strips engaged!
end in a knockout or a blowout?
Oh, yes!
The Mythbusters are investigating a tall tale of drunken misadventure in a water feature.
The first time we tried to levitate Mini Buster and his inner tube, we had a single nozzle, which resulted in some kind of interesting lean on the inner tube where he fell out. But now, we have an entire array of nozzles, which I think will give us a pretty stable levitation of Buster and his mini inner tube. What say you we start with the outside ring first?
Sounds good to me.
Oh! That is pretty cool.
It seems to be riding the outside, and it fell right down where that central nozzle isn't flowing right now.
So what I think you're saying is we should try this with the inner nozzle.
I think it'd be a good idea.
All right.
All right.
First, they'll try the center jet a little higher than the outer array. It's straight over the falls for Buster, but the guys are going to give the inside jet another chance.
Down a smidgen on the inside.
Yeah, you think we can get to like about 6 inches or so below the...
I can get anything you want, John. That's getting close, man.
Close, but no hydraulically suspended cigar. Mini Buster's jet ride lasts for less than a second. But a lower central jet did at least improve hang time a little.
I have no doubt there's one important thing this taught us, and that's that we're gonna have to tune this just right to really make this work. So let's tune it.
Next, the guys dial up the power of both the inner and outer jets and increase the difference in height between them from 6 inches to a foot.
Going on my shirt!
That's beautiful.
This time, the inflatable ring is suspended in the jets for several seconds. And John has an idea, which may allow this geezer to hang on next time.
I think we'd benefit from a slightly more realistic weight Mini Buster because he's pretty light. Maybe we put a few nuts in there, tape him down like he's hanging on, just so we can find that balance point in our small scale.
By making Mini Buster heavier, the ratio of his weight to his ring's weight will be closer to true scale. It'll also lower his center of gravity, which John thinks should stabilize his ride in the jets. To balance the increased downwards force, a beefed-up Buster will now exert.
Up a little, oh, it's too high.
The guys crank up the outer array to 10 feet and drop the inner jet to 5.
How far?
That's good.
All right.
So will this watery configuration result in levitation?
Buster into a 10-foot tall outer array with half-height inner array in 3, 2, 1.
Oh!
What do you call that? Levitation.
It's a pretty turbulent jet ride for the little guy, but he clings on to his ring for the duration. And clocking a total flight time of 7 seconds, this small-scale test suggests there may yet be some truth to the myth.
Holy moly!
Right, so I think there's only one question now.
You think that fountain still works when it's under the water?
Yeah, how did Buster float on top of that?
We just saw a pretty good levitation of our Mini Buster in his mini inner tube. But the myth does state that our old geezer does float accidentally into a bunch of fountain heads and then gets lifted upwards. So our next step is to drop our nozzle array down under the water and see if we can get the same result. Buster's in position. Go ahead and fire in 3, 2, 1.
That looks different. More like a wave pool than a beautiful fountain.
The stuff is raining back down, it's rippling out, and the ripples are coming back in, and so we're getting like intermittent flow when the nozzle's above water.
Wait, you ready?
Yeah,
pretty.
now,
Nope,
now,
pretty. Nope,
now,
pretty. Nope,
now.
pretty. Okay. Well, I think that might be a setup issue.
So the guys try again, And this time, they're going to give the jets more juice.
You can fire them in 3, 2, 1.
All right, so despite that effect of whatever's going on here, for a moment until he starts getting wish-washed around by all this, it's kind of working.
Yeah, I mean, he floated in there, got shot up, and he lasted just long enough for those waves to come crashing back, destroying his laminar flow, sending him back into the pool.
So, problem?
I think we should try this in a bigger pool so that there's less splash, and then we can try it with full-size nozzles.
Texas-sized fountain?
I like that. Well, if it's a Texas-sized fountain, we should probably get a Texas-sized crew.
Ooh, Tamara and Alan?
I like the way you think.
Go give him a call.
Still to come, Brian and John hit the road with old friends to find a full-size pool and give their small-scale fountain a Texas-sized upgrade. And John's in for a wild ride as he attempts to beat a spike strip.
Oh, he is losing it, yep.
And make a clean getaway.
Woo! Save the camera, you're welcome!
The Mythbusters are attempting to foil a police spike strip and make a successful getaway using DIY toughened tires. But their first effort with AB foam-filled tires fell flat.
Can you hear that, Brian? It's the sound of us going to prison.
Now the guys have switched to concrete-filled tires, adding 740 pounds to the weight of the car. But while the going is slow on the way to the Mythbusters' imaginary heist, the weighty wheels are handling well.
The tires are awfully stiff, but the suspension's doing its job. It doesn't look too bad.
A little longer towards the end when I picked up speed, but other than that, it drives fine.
You want to turn around and go for the gold?
You know I do.
Time for a sharp exit from the scene of the crime. So will the concrete tires survive the spikes and a speedy getaway?
Spike strips engage!
Oh!
I mean, I heard something, but I ain't stopping. Oh yeah, here we go. Ooh, I definitely feel like I'm not really in control. Oh, save the camera, you're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, oh, oh.
Going around for another lap. Oh, across that spike strip again. Woo! Oh, he is losing it. Yep.
Oh, that's not a sexy ride at all. It's getting pretty crazy. Maybe this is gonna be my last lap.
Copy that, John.
Here we go. Oh, still good, camera. And here we go. Ah!
Well, what do you say about that, Mr. New York driver?
If you're going at like 25 miles an hour, you have complete control of the car. You go 35 miles an hour, and then the entire thing is just you going like this down the street.
So I'm not perfectly educated on it, but what's the top speed of a police car?
I'm pretty sure significantly faster than 35 miles an hour.
Even though the concrete-filled tires not only survived the spike strip, but almost ripped it in half, their added weight and lack of traction also destroyed the car's handling. So it looks like it could be the end of the road for this myth.
DIY tires versus spike strips.
Well, the concrete tiles went right over the spikes and nearly cut the strip in two.
Yeah, but what about after you got up to some speed?
Yeah, after that, not so much. I mean, anything over 35 miles an hour, you can't control the car. There's no way you're escaping the law.
Then there's the AB foam-filled tires.
Once the spikes did their work and there's no airlift in the tires, it couldn't get over the obstacles.
Yep, destroyed by the weight of the car and the bumps in the road in under a minute.
So concrete tires, busted.
And AB foam-filled tires, busted.
But the Mythbusters haven't given up on getting away just yet. Coming up, a second spike-busting myth. Can a Hollywood skid skip the strip? But now, it's back to the myth of the Geezer Geyser and HQ, where Brian and John have enlisted the help of old pals from the search, Tamara Robertson and Alan Pad.
So, Geezer Geyser, next ups?
So we've done the small scale. We tried one nozzle, an array of nozzles. But what we got to was the point where our small pool was causing waves to crash back over the nozzle, interrupting that stream.
Sounds like we need a bigger pool.
Luckily, we have one.
Yeah, but before we get to that bigger pool, we have to build all of this.
What is this?
Well, we got arrays, outer and inner, manifolds, and scaffolding that lets us adjust everything so we can try to float Buster all the way up.
Oh, you want to build the scaffold?
Ooh, yeah!
So plumbing?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Right now, John and I, hi John, are using perforated C channel to build a scaffolding system to hold our middle nozzles in place and keep our outer nozzles adjustable so that we can actually dial in the streams to give Buster the best possible chance of actually being shot up and suspended with water.
Brian and I are working on our water distribution manifolds. We're gonna have 2 of them that are fed by 3 pumps. That'll give us enough pressure for the outer and the inner arrays for our nozzles.
Tamara and I have to spend a lot of time making sure every connection here is right.
I just like hugging it.
We're not dealing with a ton of pressure. I mean, it's a fair amount, but not insane. It's a ton of water. Each of our pumps can handle about 900 gallons per minute of water. Any little leak, and one of those nozzles might not be right. No flying Buster.
It's a demanding and complex build. But after some serious number crunching,
Right, so it's
2x
2x squared equals 18.
Oh, actually, that's a pretty smart way to think about that.
and some not so serious plumbing,
Now, the fountain gods will honor us.
the scaffolding and pipework for a Vegas-sized fountain are complete.
Cool. Looks like we got all the pieces. Why don't we bring them out there and put them together?
Let's do it!
But you can't just build a super fountain anywhere. Time for a drive out to the country where the Mythbusters have teed up a location for final testing.
Oh, that's a nice looking pool.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I was a kid going to summer camp.
You went to summer camp?
Nope, too many allergies, couldn't go.
With summer long gone, the pool's deserted, and the perfect spot to build a fountain of Vegas proportions.
All right.
The fountain's inner jet array will be powered by a single pump, while the outer array can take either 1 or 2.
Clear.
So the Mythbusters have ordered in 2 large units and 1 very large unit, which they'll use in different combinations.
3 massive pumps in place.
While Tamara gets to grips with the oversized pipework and Brian supervises,
Oh, that's using everything you got. All right.
John and Alan make a start in the pool. So hopefully, John's not allergic to cold water.
So this is a pretty big build in itself, but add in the element of water and it gets even more intense.
It's cold.
It is cold.
Everything that you're doing is actually just zapping the energy and heat out of you.
I can come over plenty. Whatever you need.
Your hands start to cramp up, which takes you longer to actually screw everything in, which then means that you're in the cold water even longer, getting colder, taking longer, getting colder, taking longer. It's a process, but we're almost done.
All right. Oh, that last hose is attached.
Ready to test the center manifold?
Yeah, before we hook the rest of it up and see if it all explodes apart.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. Ah! I can't feel my foot. Is that bad?
Yeah.
Brian and John developed the fountain's design during small-scale testing to provide the best shot at levitating Buster and his ring. But with a combined maximum output of 3,000 gallons per minute, these pumps are big league, and there's no guarantee the Mythbusters' scaled-up fountain will handle such massive force. Well, there's only one way to find out.
I'm ready.
On your mark.
Center manifold integrity test in 3, 2, 1.
First, Brian will fire the inner array hooked up to one of the large pumps. So far, so good. But next, the real test. Both arrays firing simultaneously with the outer jets hooked up to the extra large pump. The fountain remains intact, and even with the bigger pump backed off full capacity, the outer jets reach around 60 feet in the air.
Definitely enough force to push and hold Buster up.
You think?
And coming up next,
Go, 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 go! Come on!
it's It's time to find out. The Mythbusters have put their super fountain to the test, and the response was gushing. But are its powerful jets capable of suspending a drunken old guy in an inflatable ring, as claimed in the myth?
According to this myth, this geyser has to float exactly on top of a fountain right when it goes off. To make sure that happens, me and John and Tamara are going to be guiding the float with these lines.
But for initial testing, there'll be no Buster, just his inflatable ring. And the Mythbusters will start small, firing only the outer jets powered by one of the large pumps.
In 3, 2, 1. All right, let it go. Go, 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 go. Come on, baby!
But even with the large pump at close to full power, the outer jets fail to lift the inflatable ring.
What if we trapped it with the outer like that and then actually use the center to start raising it?
So use both sets of pumps.
Yep, so I'll bring up the power on the outer array too to lock it well in.
Copy that. All right, let's do it. All right, let go. Come on. Oh!
The inner jets did provide extra lift, but not the sustained, stable suspension described in the myth.
Do you think the weight of Buster would help?
Let's throw Buster in there.
In earlier phases of testing, a realistic scale-weight mini Buster with a lower center of gravity was critical to successful levitation. So could the addition of this guy make all the difference?
This guy's got to get that partying under control.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit too much to drink this time.
And what better way to sober up than with a relaxing float in a super fountain?
After a bunch of preliminary tests to hone in everything, I think we're ready to go full scale. That means both array of nozzles, full-size inner tube, and full-size Buster. I think he's gonna go pretty high up since we got that good stabilizing outer ring and a pretty powerful inner array.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Hit the jets, Tex. Much like the previous test, the fountain tips the inflatable ring, and Drunken Buster tumbles into the turbulence.
We came up pretty high on that outside nozzle array and almost all the way on the inside one just to get that to happen.
Yeah.
I think we need to go back to that bigger pump on that outside nozzle array.
Whew, all right, let's get set up.
All right.
All right, Tamara, get out of there. Let go.
With the extra large pump hooked up to the outer jets, they kick out a whole lot more juice. But will they hold Buster steady enough for the inner jets to lift him?
Oh!
That's everything we got on the outer array right now.
And still no fountain flight for Buster. John has a theory why.
Every time we see Old Man Buster almost get lifted by the center array, he flips feet overhead. Now that's because he's heavier in the chest than his legs are, just like a normal human being is.
When the small-scale fountain successfully suspended Mini Buster, John had first carefully balanced the weight distribution in his ring. But as an old dude sitting in an inflatable ring would be imbalanced, just like Buster, using counterweights to even things out would be cheating the myth. So the Mythbusters instead decide to both reconfigure the fountain and hook it up to all 3 pumps to attempt to lift Buster one last time.
For this final shot, what we're going to do is we're going to move our inner array out closer to our outer array so that all of our pumps are focusing all of our force on the outer part, which should give us the most stability and the most force, and maybe Buster will actually stay up there.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, this is the big one. In 3, 2, 1.
This is the final call for Drunken Buster. Will he make his flight or get ditched in the drink to drown his sorrows?
Oh yeah! Let go! Go, 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 go! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Go! Go! I think we maxed out.
That didn't work at all.
No, it didn't.
Look at all the stuff we did for this full-scale test today. We just fired the outer array.
Come on, baby!
We fired both arrays together. We used all the pumps. Even arranged the inner nozzles outside to create some super ring of nozzles. And it still didn't work.
We definitely mastered caging Buster, but levitation not so much.
Yeah, even when we saw Buster start to lift a little above the surface of the water, he would just flip over like a pancake.
I gotta say, this is busted.
Busted.
Agreed.
Still to come.
Brian, you ready?
I was born ready.
Get ready for spike-busting myth number 2, the Hollywood Power Slide. When the Mythbusters tested if DIY toughened tires could beat police road spikes,
Oh! I can hear the air leaving those tires.
the myth ended up as busted as the tires. But what if there's another way to beat a spike strip? Well, according to the movie Baby Driver, there is. All you need is a high-powered car, a skilled driver with nerves of steel, and you can drift those spikes clean off the road, then escape to freedom.
Using one of our rear tires to brush aside a spike strip is sort of like trying to do surgery with a sledgehammer, because we're using a full-size vehicle to brush aside something that's about this tall and this wide. To get this right, we need perfect timing and a whole lot of coordination.
And that sounds like a whole bundle of Brian Baby. The Mythbusters' very own trainee stunt driver will get expert coaching from law enforcement pursuit and evasion driving instructor Marcus Smith.
All right, first thing is a precision move. You have to get the back end to rotate in an oversteer skid. The problem is if you don't rotate enough, you get a spike. If you rotate too much, the car's gonna be facing in the wrong direction. Let's do it.
Before Brian gets a run at the spikes, he'll hone his technique on a softer target.
Okay, the track is clear.
Copy that. Ready to go.
Oh boy. Here we go. Ooh, Brian, swing and a miss, man. Ooh, so close.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Rotation was good, maybe recovered just a little bit too early.
What's needed is a little less caution and a little more approach speed.
Nice.
Not to mix my sports metaphors, but bullseye!
This time, Brian clips the boxes. But does he really nail the maneuver?
Perfect placement.
I feel like, though, there's not quite enough rotation, but tire placement was spot on.
Yeah, you want to lead with the rear, not the front of the car.
All right, so plus for me is tire placement. Downside for me is not quite enough rotation.
So if Brian's going to beat the spike strip, he'll need to commit even more to the power slide.
Okay, it's time for the real thing. How do you think he's gonna do?
I actually think he's going to do a good job, but I'm rooting for a spike strip.
I understand where you're coming from. All right, let's call him in. Power slide spike strip removal technique in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Here we go. Oh no! Is that the sound of air leaking out of a tire I hear?
Sounds like it.
And the proof is in the pudding. Or in this case, stabbed deep into the sagging rear tire.
All right, you wanna see a sexy maneuver on high speed?
Oh, yes.
Ooh, oh. Does that look like a rollover to you?
And there's the problem. In order to recover from the power slide, Brian pulls out of the maneuver too early, rolling over rather than brushing aside the spikes.
You make a sweet turn, and then the front tire clears the spike strip, and the back one goes do-doom.
I think you might be right there, but I remember in that movie, it doesn't show how he recovers. It looks like he spins maybe 270, takes his time and drives off. So I say we do this and just cut that recovery so we're only worried about flicking that spike strip.
So Brian Baby's back behind the wheel. But can he slide this myth over the line?
And he's off. Don't move your car, Brian.
Yeah, I can't speed the spike strip, so I thought I'd just hang out here.
Amazingly, all the tires survive intact, but the spike strips wrapped around both back wheels, immobilizing the car. So what went wrong?
Oh, that's sideways.
Brian nails the maneuver, sliding the sidewall of his rear tire into the strip, but he still fails to beat the spikes.
Yeah, you're hitting real nice sideways, but you hit it right in the middle of the strip. So,
Folded it around.
exactly, which makes your getaway a little bit difficult, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't think I could have gone anywhere, but there's a chance I think if I hit it closer to the edge, that'd go differently, huh?
Yeah, good thing you didn't pop any of those tires. You wanna hop back in and give it another go?
No.
Brian, you ready?
I was born ready.
Ooh, he's got the rev. I think he forgot to take it out of park.
Nice. That's not good for this myth.
No, sir, it is not.
Even though Brian slides in perfectly sideways and hits the very end of the strip, just like in Baby Driver, multiple spikes bite into the tire.
I think they caught you, man.
Yeah, I was a little scared to keep going.
It's weird. It's like these spike strips were designed to stop cars no matter what they did.
As though years of engineering and rehearsal and trial and error have caused this to work so well.
So you don't have to be the sharpest spike in the strip to work out the verdict on this movie myth.
So, beating a spike strip with a power slide. I mean, it seems pretty easy in the movies.
Yeah, but even with Brian Baby behind the wheel, nearly impossible in real life.
Yeah, you have to get the rotation of that slide just right to brush the spike strip, but not roll over it.
Not easy. And you have to hit the very end of that spike strip with the tire to have a chance of brushing it away.
Also not easy.
Even if you get the accuracy and the rotation of that power slide right, you end up with spikes in your tire.
So, this mythical move might work in blockbusters, but in real life, it's just plain busted.
Just like those tires.
So, Brian, baby, you ready to try and make another getaway?
Yeah, never gonna catch me, copper.
Yeah, you know I'm not gonna use the spike strip this time, right?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Uncool!